In my last longevity report, I cited the incredible gains in life extension over the last century, with a 50% increase in average life expectancy from birth, and the promise of continued leaps in longevity in the future. But old age and death still remain an existential reality linked to the gift of human birth. For many blessed with relatively good health throughout their lives and positive attitudes, the later years can be greatly fulfilling, productive, and joyous. But not everyone is fortunate. That scenario is captured in the Greek myth of Eos and Tithonus. Eos, the goddess of the dawn, was smitten with the handsome Trojan mortal Tithonus, the son of the king of Troy. They became lovers and had a child, Memnon, who later became the king of Ethiopia. In time, Eos observed signs of aging in Tithonus. Not surprising, since unlike her godly status, he was mortal. Eos swung into action. To ensure their youthful love forever, Eos persuaded the great god Zeus to grant Tithonus immortality, just as she possessed. Zeus was not in favor of the union, but caved in and granted Tithonus immortality. You would think this would be the backstory of a fairy tale that ends with, "and they lived happily ever after." But like many Greek myths, it took a nasty turn. Unfortunate for the lovers, it suddenly dawned on the goddess of the dawn that in her urgent request for immortality for Tithonus, she had failed to include an important detail: healthy eternal life. No small matter, as they both soon discovered. Tithonus aged with increasing chronic diseases, deterioration, and suffering, without the possibility of release through death. His suffering would be endless. Eventually, Eos abandoned him, although he remained in the palace, confined to a chamber where his painful, feeble cries could be heard. To release Tithonus from his awful fate, Eos ultimately turned him into a grasshopper. The fate of Tithonus reminds us that extended life without health may be no blessing at all for the older person, the family, or society. We have created a fabulous acute care medical system, perhaps the best in the world, for treating diseases. Modern medical technology and heroics can keep people alive almost endlessly, but often with little attention to quality of life. That approach will not work with the greatly extended lifespans of our longevity revolution. A child born today can expect to live to the 90s and even beyond as we keep adding years to the average lifespan. But will those added years be healthy years? If not, the cost in human suffering and dollars will be astronomical. That's why we must change our focus and promote wellness, prevention, and healthy lifestyles. These are no longer choices, but responsibilities of young and old alike. We cannot afford disease, lest we make the myth of Tithonus a reality for all of us. Nice conclusion and advice, you might say. But how can we accomplish the goal of healthy aging in a society with virtually no system of prevention and unrelenting cutbacks in medical services and prescription benefits for older Americans, with prospects of greater reductions as the percentage of elderly grows and the percentage of the working population shrinks? According to the Public Health and Prevention website, it's striking that only 3% of our health care spending is focused on prevention and public health, when 75% of our health care costs are related to preventable conditions. But there is an answer to the question how to adequately fund health care. About a decade ago, at a national gerontology meeting, sociologist Theodore Roszak presented an intriguing response to that question of how will we pay for health care for an aging society. He pointed out that when the automobile first appeared at the turn of the 20th century, it was largely a plaything for the rich and leisure class. There were few roads to drive on, and the automobile was used largely for recreation. But Roszak reminded us that there were visionaries who immediately saw that the auto would become the centerpiece of commerce and the economy. These visionaries insisted that to accommodate and honor the importance of motor vehicles, we would have to build a vast system of highways crisscrossing America. Doubters ridiculed them, saying it was impossible. Why, that would cost millions upon millions, at a time when $1 million actually counted. Of course, it came to pass. The roads were built. Similarly, Rozak said that if we truly valued health and longevity and made them priorities, the money, like for the roads, would be there. So the question is not, can we provide proper health care and prevention programs for people of all ages, but rather, do we have the moral conviction and will to make health our priority? Good question for the new year. And remember Tithonus. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with more longevity reports for living longer and better. Stay tuned. I'm Dr. Bernard Starr.